just about using the
Okay, we'll just do the introduction. This is Aunt Kate. Aunt Kate. Uncle Abe. In our family, it's hard to tell. We have to identify people, you know, because some people dress up and do silly things sometimes, you know what I mean?
Right.
So we're here, and this is May 23rd, 1992, and we just came by because we want to, we have the camera running because we want to record this, because we are getting older ourselves, and our memories are failing.
He is getting older.
Yeah, I am. And we just thought maybe we'd kind of take a trip down memory lane a little bit and kind of pick your memories so we can just get a feeling of how things were way back when you were just a little kid yourself, and Grandma and Grandpa, and, you know, they've been gone an awfully long time, and it's getting hard even to remember the many times of the moments that we did spend there. Unfortunately, in our minds, things fade away. And
What life?
so we just kind of want to, what we want to do is just kind of sit and visit and chat and kind of regress back to those old days of yesteryear and the cloud of dust and the hearty Ohio silver. So that's kind of what we're here for, and
That was Braxton's favorite radio.
kind of let your thoughts wander back to the old days. Like maybe you could tell us something about Grandma and Grandpa. I know Norman Lois were here, and they're here today. Were here before, and they're saying how Grandpa came from Glasgow, Sweden, or was it Grandma?
Grandma.
Maybe Grandma, because Grandpa came from Stockholm.
Grandpa came from Stockholm.
Yeah, I never knew where Grandma came from.
Only 16 years old.
Do you remember, Abe?
I don't know.
Are there any books or anything around that?
The only thing Bernice has got is Grandpa's Bible.
That's I don't know.
That has a lot in there.
Oh, maybe we could investigate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I can
That
give,
would be good.
Yeah.
I know Pat for Glenn,
Uh-huh.
and I talk to Pat quite often. Pat, Glenny's wife, you know?
Glenn might have it.
Yeah.
I don't know who has that.
So then maybe we can check into that for us, because that'd be kind of interesting to find out. But do you remember anything that they would tell you? I can remember this because I used to ride the bike out, remember, to Grandma and Grandpa's house years ago during the summer. I ride my bike out, and Grandma was telling me about when she came over. They came over on this big boat, and they came to New York, and she couldn't speak any English. And it was kind of a tough situation. You remember her telling you anything about that? About a green card? Or, that comes to my mind. I don't know if it's...
I don't know if they had green cards at that time or not. I doubt it. Because she worked as a housekeeper in a house, you know,
In New York.
in New York.
Yeah. She was in New York for a while before she came
I
here.
don't know how many years, but then she came here. But I don't know who she knew here. No, my grandpa knew his relations were here. Vern Anderson, I think, was a cousin of his. He lived over on the west side, and they did have a relation up in Ludington. So I think he came over. I don't know who he stayed with, but I can remember when he said he'd come early in the morning. And we're here, we're going to stay. I met this Vern Anderson. He was about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning when he got in here. So what he did, he walked around. That's when they had stoves, you know. Did he see the smoke coming out of the house, out of the chimney? Then he went up there. He didn't want to bother himself.
Oh, to make sure they were up.
He was up there.
Oh, for God's sake.
Well, that's what he was, you know.
But
He-
Grandma and Grandpa didn't know each other before here?
No, they met in Grand Rapids.
Oh, they met in Grand Rapids, so I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
Grandpa told me that.
I don't know how they met even.
No, but they met in Grand Rapids, I know that. Yeah.
Well, just like, you know, all the Hungarians or Swedes, they get to know each other, so one way or the other. But
Now, do you know did either of them have any brothers or sisters
Oh, yeah.
here in the United
Oh,
States?
sure. Grandpa had sisters. Those were the ones in Ludington.
Yeah, they were.
That was relation to Grandpa. He had
Oh,
2
is
or
that
3
right?
sisters here.
Oh, really?
Brother, I never heard. But I know he had sisters in Ludington.
I never heard him
no.
talk about brothers.
Now, did they go by Danielson or Anderson?
Well,
Danielson.
he went by Danielson.
Danielson.
Andrews.
Well, he said at that time that they would take their father's names, like say, now his father's name was Daniel Anderson, see, and so he would be Daniel's son, and that's how he got, that's what he said, how he got Daniel's son out of it.
Oh.
But the ones up there were Anderson, so I don't know.
I thought it was Andrewson. Anderson?
Anderson.
Okay. Oh.
And the grandma was a Swanson. She had brothers in the old country, but I don't think grandma ever had a sister. She mentioned 5 brothers, but she never
I
mentioned
never heard of any, ever, any of the family.
Yeah, she did, but she never ever mentioned a sister. So,
Because Joe Anderson, Joe Swanson,
Swanson.
but he was a good carpenter, and his son is he works out the herb lumber company.
Right now he's there.
Oh, is that right?
Because they stopped up here one time to visit, you know. He says he wanted to see us, you know. So, but I haven't seen him since. He says drop out sometime. Boy, you know how we drop out. We don't.
Yeah, that's really hard. People do that, they'll say just drop in and you just don't do it.
Yeah.
No, it's too bad.
Yeah.
But now,
Who's this that works at Herb Lumber? It's Grandma's
Grandma's
Brother's son.
brother's son.
oh,
And he works at Herb Lumber in Muskegon?
in Wyoming.
Oh, in Wyoming.
In Wyoming.
What is his name?
Did you remember his name?
Swanson.
His first name, I've got it written down. It's kind of a different.
Yeah, if you don't write it down, you don't remember, but they were up here about an hour, and he wanted to take a picture, you know, for the album.
Well, look him up sometime.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
that would be real interesting.
You're gonna get a job?
Maybe the Danielson reunion.
Yeah, we're gonna have a
He was,
reunion.
at that time, he was looking into, he was thinking about buying land and putting up a trailer park.
Oh,
And I don't know if he ever did that or not, but that was his intention, you know.
Yeah.
If he ever went through with that or not, I don't know.
now what was Grandpa's occupation? He worked for the railroad, wasn't he?
Oh, yes, and he was
That when he come over.
a Boilermaker.
A boiler
In
maker.
fact, he was a Boilermaker instructor.
Oh,
He instructed the apprentice Boilermakers
uh-huh.
and trained them, just like a master carpenter, really, like that.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Where, for the railroad?
Pierre Marquette, see?
Yeah.
Oh, that was out in Wyoming, you see.
Oh.
And at one time, they had to repair the boilers on the boats that go across from Milwaukee to Chicago, from Milwaukee to Livingston. And for about a month, they was going back and forth repairing the boilers. They were still running, you see. So he spent about a month up in Livingston at one time repairing boilers up there. But
So while you were kids growing up, that's what he was doing. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
working on
yeah.
boilers. Oh, I never knew that either.
Oh yeah.
When he first come over here, he was a tailor, wasn't he? Sailmaker?
And he took us down one time. That's when they had the big locomotives, you know, skids, you know. And there was, I think, it was a 9,000 series. And those wheels were taller than we were.
Oh, wow.
And they'd go in the roundhouse there, and he showed us how they'd put the engine down there, and their mechanism could turn the motor around, turn that boiler around, that locomotive around in there, and come back out there. And then they had a big crane above there that was so big that it could lift these locomotives up.
Wow, wait.
But he said he always made it a point to be away from there when that thing was running.
Yeah.
I always wanted a job there when I was a kid, and he told me don't go there, stay away from there.
Well, that's where he got overheated.
And all that black stuff in
They
his
would
lungs.
go into the boilers after a run, you know, and that was hot in there, and they'd have to work in and out of that, and there was 2 fellows he was showing, you know, in there, him and another fellow, And they both got overheated. The other fellow died.
Oh my God.
And my dad was off of work for about a year.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
He didn't
didn't
think he ever lived, you know. I can remember him.
And when the hammer wheel hit him in the shoulder.
He was down in the basement because it was cooler down there. But after about a year, then he went back to work. So my dad would have lived a lot longer, I think, if it hadn't been for that.
Well, how old was he when he passed away? I can't remember anymore.
75.
75.
Well, that was pretty good age, you know, for then, you know.
Yeah.
Well, my mother was 79, see.
And she was 79.
She always wanted to be 80, and so did Ethel. And neither one lived to be 80. They wanted to be 80 years old.
Only the cankerous one lived to be over 80, see.
Oh.
How old are you now?
Well,
85.
85.
are you really?
And he's still
Oh
walking.
my
I
God.
feel like walking
And
because
wonderful
Dave's
shape.
down there in the road till the garden, you know.
Yeah.
It says it's going to rain, so. And he had a big road till, and boy, that thing is just like powder. So afterwards I went out and evened it up there. I could tell afterwards.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't find it, but I just changed the address, but I'm quite sure it's Irwin.
Irwin.
And his father's name was Joe Swanson.
Joe Swanson.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah, I
have
heard
to
talk
try
about
and look
Joe.
him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Grandma and Grandpa met here in Grand Rapids
In Grand
somewhere.
Rapids,
Yeah,
yeah.
somehow.
Somewhere, somehow.
Well, maybe they had like a Swedish hall or something.
I imagine they did, because I think
Did they
there's...
do that?
They did
What?
have
You
a
did.
Swedish hall here.
Didn't they know Esther Olson?
You mean for the wedding?
Too? They knew
No,
Olson.
how they met.
Do you know
People
anything
just gathered.
Do you know anything about the wedding? When they were
Remember
married?
when they got married? Did they ever talk about their wedding?
No,
No.
no.
They didn't have big weddings.
Now,
The wedding was a quick affair, you know.
Yeah.
you know,
I wouldn't go into
I do when I
wouldn't go into detail about that. They do that all the time now, so.
oh yeah, yeah.
Some of them did it when they was younger too.
My great-grandmother was an Anderson, and Grandma Danielson knew her. They were good friends.
Was that right?
She was a Jehovah's Witness. And I don't know if it was Grandma Danielson or my great-grandma that told me when they came over here, first they went to, I believe it was Pennsylvania. There were a lot of Swedes settled in Pennsylvania. But they said everybody talked Swedish. And they said, we came here to the New World to, you know, become Americans, and so they wanted to really mix with everyone, and so then they came on to Michigan. But I'm not sure which one told me. My memory just, you know, kind of fails
You
me
ever
there.
like that too?
Did Grandma and Grandpa talk Swedish at home or?
No.
No.
Grandma told me that when we got married, we were in a new country. And she says, we're going to keep it new, we're not going to talk Swedish. They never talked
That's a
Swedish.
shame.
But that was a mistake.
Yeah, that was.
wrong. That was wrong.
Yeah.
Now with her family now, they talk Hungarian, and they talk to the home, so
Mhm.
it was second nature to them, because kids, they pick it up.
Oh, you bet. Yeah.
But
Yeah, my older sister couldn't even talk American when she went to school because it was all Hungarian.
Oh,
And it was kind of hard for her at first.
Sure.
But I think it's a good idea.
But like I was telling you before, I said, when I went up to, my dad and I went up to Livingston one time, he just got a Overland, and he never drove before, so he wanted to drive up there like this. And we was up there for a week, and by the time I left there, I couldn't understand everything they said. I couldn't talk it, you know, but you could understand it.
Oh, yeah.
With a kid, you know, but I wish I would learn.
Yeah, I've seen pictures
Yeah.
of that car already. Yeah, over.
Okay, now with the kids, who was the oldest?
Art,
Art. My dad was the oldest.
Art,
Then
Ethel,
Ethel. Then Oscar.
Eve, and
Eve,
Oscar
younger.
was younger.
Oscar was the youngest.
Oscar, they were-
Oh, I thought you were the youngest.
No, no.
No, I think Oscar was born in 1911.
Oh,
Oscar was younger.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Art and Ethel were 3 years apart.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about when you were? Now, how much older was my dad than you?
Let's see, your dad was born in 1904. 3 years. I was born in 1907.
So you still grew up together and had, you know, family life together,
Yeah, well,
played together and stuff?
Sure, when your dad got married, let's see, he worked for your mother's father. They run a store up in North Park. Nagelkirk.
No, this Nagel.
Nagel.
Yeah.
Charlie Nagel. Charlie Nagel.
Yeah.
And he was
Yeah, we got a
working down
picture of
in the store then, see. Then while I was going to school, then when he quit to go in the carpenter work, then I took his job.
He worked for,
I worked there for a while. Yeah.
he worked at that other store too, up the road. Eisenbart, was it? Mark Eisenbart?
Art worked for Eisenbach for a while.
Remember when a guy choked on a ginger snap there? The guy that worked there, choked to death on a ginger snap cookie.
Yeah, Eisenbach
And he worked
bought
for,
the store from Nagel.
Do you remember how old they were when they got married?
They were young, but I don't know. I don't remember. They were young. Yeah. I know that Art went to work for Hoyle. Hoyle was a carpenter, and then after school and stuff, he was always interested in carpenter work, so Hoyle was a good carpenter. And he told Art, if you want to know anything about carpenter work, he said, I'll help you out. Because I worked with Jenny Hoyle. She used to tell me that Art was so interested in carpenter work.
Well, Hoyle, what was the name of he didn't work for Hoyle, he worked for another.
No, he didn't work for him. I said after school and stuff, he went with him when he was doing carpenter work.
Hoyle worked for, after school, Hoyle worked for another carpenter, but he said, if you want to break in the kids, understands carpentry, he said, Art, he's a crackerjack guy. So this builder hired Art, he worked for, I can't remember.
Is that Datamans?
No, well, he worked
Before
for Datamans
that.
afterwards. I forget.
Eisenbart,
I forget his name.
But
You forget too?
I'm getting that right.
Yeah, it happens to all of us, doesn't it?
He was building Hoyle's house up in North Park. This carpenter was building Hoyle's house, and he told him about Art. He says, hire that guy, kid. He said, he's a good carpenter already. Art, your dad always was a good carpenter. Maybe it was the family because Joe.
No.
I can't find the name.
Bill Huntsberger?
Huntsberger.
Yeah, Bill
That was
Huntsberger.
Huntsberger.
Bill.
Yeah, that's what Huntsberger.
Yeah, that's right.
Huntsberger was building. He was building Hoyle's house. See?
Yeah.
Yeah, he started working for husband, then he went to Datamon.
Yeah, he didn't
Then he
teach
got-
any of us kids.
But I do know that Ade's mother's brothers in the old country were carpenters.
Oh, were they?
Oh, that's where he got
Oh.
it. We didn't get none of that. I can't even come aboard straight.
No, I'm not.
We like cars.
I think
Cars
my
and grills.
grandfather was a tailor of them.
He was a tailor. Grandpa's father was a tailor, but I don't know about Grandma's father. But Grandpa's father was a tailor, and a lot of times Grandpa used to sit there and thread a needle and stuff. And I said, well, how do you know how to do that? He said, my dad was a tailor, and he said he always told me, he said, your eyes are better than mine. Come on and thread my needle. So he said, I learned real young how to thread a needle.
Oh.
Well, they did that too because now there was a lot of fishing there, so they would repair nets. You know, he'd help repair nets. You know, in fact, he made a couple of nets. You know.
I made sales too, that.
Yeah.
I've heard too.
Yeah.
But what about though when you were kids and growing up and going to school? Remember anything about that when you're in school days?
Where
Did
did
you go
you
to school?
live when you grew up?
Well, I was born on Gould, on the west side.
Okay, northwest.
And then I started the Street School there. I can remember when I was young there because we lived next to the corner and we'd make snowballs and we'd throw the kids around the streets.
You did that?
But I started school there.
Yeah.
In Gould. But then after that we moved from Gould. We moved so many times. We moved up on Center Street on North End. And then,
4 Mile Road.
then we moved on Dale. And then we moved on Sweet Street. We lived 3 different places there.
When they moved to 4 Mile Road, my dad had that garage house behind it.
Well, when we lived on Dale Street,
That's quite
when
old.
we lived on Dale Street, Dale Street was the last street we lived on. We lived on, I think we lived on Sweet first, Center next, and then on Dale Street. And when we lived on Dale Street, that's when my mother's nephew, we got acquainted with him, and he owned the property up on at that time it was Livingston Boulevard, 4 Mile Road now. It was at that
Town Line Road. At one time.
And then,
Town Line.
then we bought the house from him, and then we moved
They
up
lost
there.
it, yeah. They lost it, so my dad lost the garage that he built.
They lost the house?
Yeah, that was during the Depression, see, and
The big crash. That's
and
when
I was the only one working, and I could make enough money. I paid for the taxes on there. But at that time, they put a new school up North Park, and the taxes were high, and it was, I forgot how much, $108 at that time, and that was an awful lot of
Oh,
money.
yeah, that would have been then.
But
Yeah.
during the Depression, there wasn't that much work, and so eventually they just lost the house.
There were so many.
So Uncle Abe, then, Art and Elma were married. Then, were you married?
No.
You were still at home. The other 3 kids were still at home. And now they had their first child was Norma, right?
Yeah.
Their first child was Norma, and Norma died.
My
Was
dad.
that at birth or?
Yeah, at
or
birth.
did she at birth?
At birth.
Oh, yeah.
Then
First one died at birth.
Lois was born up on 4 Mile Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was that.
And I remember that she told me they had Dr. Ben.
Dr. Ben, they called him a horse doctor.
They
Oh.
lost an awful lot of
And they
babies,
went to
but that
Bday.
baby was, died at
That
birth.
died at birth.
The first one. Yeah, it was a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, they had them all at home, right?
Oh, yeah. She had them all.
You and you.
Even you were born at home,
I
Jack?
stayed up. I
Yeah.
tried to stay up to help Mom when you were born. I drank 4 cups of black coffee and I slept right to the home.
Yeah, he was going to be this big helper.
I had a kerosene lamp and I had to clean that
Yeah.
chimney every morning. They leave it alone and set up the chimney real bad. I had to clean it.
Now, Jack claims that she went out and hung the wash up the day he was born.
Probably did.
Do you have a comment on that, Kate and Uncle Lee?
They weren't there.
He also claims he walked at 6 months old.
I was a very fast learner. I was intelligent, just like you, Uncle Abe.
Yeah, that's right.
What did they do for fun?
What kind of fun?
Cool.
Your parents?
Oh.
Oh, you know, us.
They made their own
younger,
rules.
all we did was play games, duck and a rock and hide and go seek. and-
Stick in a hoop.
Gosh.
But after marriage, what type of thing?
What do you think they do after
No, but
What type of thing
well,
after marriage?
I think, Jack, didn't you tell me that the family used to play Beano or?
Well, that was Ramanago side.
Oh,
Germans.
Yeah, they played Dino all
Swedes
along.
don't play good.
First I played my
Well,
mother.
my mother and us women, the Hungarians got together on Saturday night. We played. But actually, what did you have? You didn't even have a radio.
No, I
We had, North Park, see, my dad liked radio, so we got a radio up there. Boy, that was a big thing.
Yeah.
That was there.
I remember when I first came to the family, had this radio with that big
Yeah, take the
round
battery
back,
out of
and
the car
he'd sit there
on Saturday night.
listening to that.
Yeah,
They
we,
took
Yeah.
the battery out of the car and play the radio.
But did the kids get together?
We had another radio
Saturday night
besides
or
that. We had the Atwater Cat.
I don't know.
Before that,
Crystal
we had one that run on batteries.
Uh-huh.
But I think the round was a Philco.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, that was still cool.
This afternoon?
That was good radio. But, well, that was a big thing.
Uncle Abe, did the kids get together like on Saturday nights or something? Your family, your brothers?
That's why I took baths.
After you were all married, did you get together?
Not very much.
Well, okay, I'll call you back now.
But
That's okay.
your dad, Jack, you and your dad would come here on Saturdays, right?
We'd come by on Saturdays, you know. Just about every Saturday, we'd start out and
Start on Leonard Street.
start on Leonard Street. And then we'd go to Dot and Dash, have hamburgers and french fries. Then we'd come over here and I'd get a horse out and back.
Yeah, we had 2 or 3 horses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd let me ride the horse once in a while.
You actually had horses yourself?
We didn't, well, my
Well,
brother
they're the
did.
neighbors.
Oh, your
The neighbor had a horse and
Neighbors up here, they had a horse, and they raised dogs. They had 33 Pomeranians, and they had, what were they, Shepherd and something. They raised dogs up here, Kingsford did, and we had, about 50 dogs around.
I showed a picture of that junkyard.
Well, you got that
29.
picture.
Did
Show it to
you
Jen.
see it?
I don't think Jan.
No, that's it.
I got it when the home.
You see, what did you do when you got married? Worked.
Yeah. well,
Yeah.
Didn't have much recreation, huh?
Okay, there's no such a thing as a wash machine. When we got married, you get your old washboard out and you do it by
Oh,
hand.
yeah.
And you ring it by hand, and you can't run around while you're washing. You take a whole night to wash.
Uh-huh.
Then we used to hang it in the kitchen, and then the next night take it down, we come home from work and iron it and take care of it. And not
The tree
like
is still
now.
out there.
Right.
Go look at it, John Brenda. Somebody trying to tell me that ain't Baker junkyard. I said, that tree is still there, we saw it.
Well, Bakers have been there a long time.
Yeah, yep.
And
they
my
have.
father-in-law used to go there.
I
he
got
first
that
started
pretty
up.
hard time.
Yeah, see, that burnt down.
Yeah.
This part here, it's still up there.
What is that?
That one tree is
back
still
here.
there.
Yeah,
This is 29, that I take. 1929, when I was born.
that one.
All
No,
Model Ts and
hold
all
it up a little
kinds
bit.
of.
See?
Just a minute, I gotta zoom in on this.
And these,
It's Baker's Auto Parts. They're terrible to do business with.
are they?
Oh, they are the
How?
slowest people. They've got everything you can ever imagine, but they're so hard to deal with. They're so slow. It works
Okay.
2 days sometimes, you know?
But these cars then are from the 20s, right?
These cars are, yeah, all
Model T.
Well, they're there before then, because this is taken in
1929.
1929. See.
Oh, yeah.
I had a car, something like that. Because I had the,
Norm had one like that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Model A.
Oh, yeah.
Scared me so much when he started it up, I jumped right out of the car, didn't even open the door. I didn't, I jumped right out of the car, it scared me to death.
Well, my mother talks about, you know, when they made the first car that didn't have a crank, they said, how in the world are we ever going to start those cars if you don't have a crank?
But like you and my dad and Ethel and Oscar, you never got together a whole lot and
No.
had supper or
Picnics and
Well,
picnics?
Ethel was different. Ethel never was around very much. And then when we got married, Ethel lived out on Detroit Street, way to the other end of town, really. And, you know, we just...
Ethel was always a loner, you know, she was different.
With Elma, we'd
Like
get
your brother,
together once
Claire.
in a while. But it just seems like there's a child around, you're busy all the time.
Yeah.
With Elma, we used to go with Elma once in a while. And we had grandmas all the time for birthdays or anniversaries or something like that. But Ethel never was around. And then she went to Florida and Charlevoix and California, and Ethel was all over all the time.
Now, how many times was Ethel married?
Twice.
Twice.
Earl?
The first guy, did he die or
No.
they get
They
divorced?
divorced. They divorced.
And then she married this, I can't remember. his
Andy,
name.
yeah.
Andy Grillo.
Grillo.
Yeah.
The first one's Earl, what?
Earl Merritt.
Merritt,
Yeah.
He was a nice fellow.
Does she have
Oh,
children?
He was more of a farmer's fellow, you know. But he was a nice
Sure,
fellow.
quiet, yeah.
Earl was
In
nice.
fact, your dad built a boat for my dad, your father. And he knew my dad knew the design on it, so I built it. And Jesus was a nice rowing boat. Well, they rowed all the way down, put in here, Earl Merritt, Ethel's first husband.
Yeah.
And they went all the way down to Grand Haven.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, with a boat. They poured it around there.
Uncle A, did she have children?
Ethel?
Ethel have
Ethel
children?
never had children, yeah.
No, Ethel could never have children. Just from those things. She said she never stopped from having children.
No.
She never.
Never was pregnant.
She was never pregnant. And she was married twice, see, so it was her.
Well, I know that Earl came to your grandma's funeral, and Earl was married, and he had 5 or 6 children after that. That was Ethel's first husband. But they never had any children.
Is Earl still alive, or?
I don't know.
No, I doubt
I
it.
don't know.
Oh, I say I doubt it.
But you don't know. We never heard, you
By
know.
my age. Oh, no, he'd be older.
He'd be older than you, probably, yeah.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, Andy was a nice fellow too, Ethel's second husband.
Andy was a nice fellow. Yeah,
Very nice.
he was a good fellow.
Well, Ethel probably had some qualities that were nice.
Yeah, Ethel was nice too. She took up beauty work when she lived in town here, and she was a beauty operator.
Oh.
Ethel was for a long time.
And that's what she did down in Florida. You know, she had her own business there. She would go to hospitals. She was in the hospital and take care of the patients.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So she stuck with it.
I'll try to, we're going to try to start this picture, but it's very small. I'm not sure if I can get this in here or not. Oh, sure. Okay, this is Ethel.
You scratch anything, I'll cut you covered.
Lois, who are the rest of them here? I'm going to go on the left-hand corner here. Who is this here?
This is Uncle Abe, and I believe it's Lois.
Ethel got
Oh, wait, why isn't that coming out?
in school, and she got married.
Why isn't that
She
working?
couldn't teach because at that time there
Oh,
wasn't
but I'm
all the teachers.
Oh.
And married teachers could not work.
Married teacher couldn't
So she could teach.
That's Uncle Abe. And who is that with him?
I believe it's Lois.
Lois. And then
Top is Grandpa Danielson.
No, he was a doctor.
For a while, you couldn't teach if you were married. You just forgot about it. And they didn't have enough
Did
teachers.
you know that,
and then next
girls?
to that, just a second, honey.
This is Grandma Danielson in the middle. This is Art, the boy's father. This is Uncle Abe, and this is Uncle Oscar.
Okay.
And then this is Alma. This is their mother. And I think that's Norm. I've got to ask Kate to, because I forgot to write it. But the eyes are just a little more slanty like Norm, so I think that's Norm.
Okay. And under that one?
That, I believe that's Uncle Abe.
And you have sex, you lose a hand. Well,
And then the bottom?
That's Uncle Oscar.
Oops, that was this
Yeah,
way.
that's Oscar when he was a boy.
Whoop. Let's see here.
Hold still.
Uncle Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then, let's see here. Above Ethel?
That's Ethel when she was younger.
On the other hand, she had to work. Oh, after always said.
And the group
The
picture?
group picture is, what was Ethel's first husband's name?
Earl.
Earl. This is Earl. And Grandma Danielson, Grandpa Danielson, Ethel, and Art, I think holding Lois.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Did I get this one here?
Yeah.
I did get
Yeah,
that one.
that's
Okay,
Uncle
let's
Abe.
get
Well, doesn't he look sharp with that hat and everything?
That's nice.
Isn't that
I don't know if you heard it, but, you know, Aunt Ethel was a school teacher. She went to school and became a school teacher. But because at that time they were just saying that they didn't need very many school teachers or something.
Well, at that time she got married. See, she married Earl Merritt, and at that time a married woman couldn't teach school. See,
Oh, yeah. They had too many teachers.
then she took up beauty work after that.
Oh, yeah. Huh. Interesting.
Okay, so my dad worked at the grocery store, or whatever that was. Is that kind of like a grocery store, right?
It was a grocery store.
Yeah.
I'll show
It
you a
was
picture of
your
him.
mother's
My mother's father, yeah.
store. Then Eisenbach bought it over. They moved next door, across the street. And then Art still worked for him.
Okay, then he got in a truck. And did my mother work at that store too, I suppose?
Yeah, that's how they met.
Yeah.
That's how they met. But
Maybe they were both hungry, huh?
Did Art become Jehovah's Witness when he married Elma?
Well, I don't know.
How did, what did,
The Nagels are not Jehovah's Witnesses.
my dad, well, now with his kids, you know, at that time with Jehovah's Witnesses, all they did was peddle tracts around, you know.
Was that the same as Bible student?
Hmm?
My grandfather was called a Bible student.
Yeah, Bible student.
Was that the same as Jehovah's? Were they the same people?
Yeah.
You just changed their name later on to Jehovah's Witnesses?
No, I don't know when they become known as Jehovah's Witnesses, but
Yeah, Grandpa said they were both, after they got married, they were real young when they used to have the, well, it wasn't Watchtower then, it was,
Golden Age.
yeah,
Bible
Golden Age.
students. It was the Bible students, yeah.
Yeah, they were Bible students, and they used to,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But my dad used to peddle tracts around there. His kids never did, but see, my dad, his hearing was bad through being a boilermaker, but he was well versed in the Bible. My dad was, because he'd read it through how many times, you know. He was well versed on there, so. The church he ever went to never believed anything about it, see. So he was interested in that, but he was never active besides that, because.
But Grandpa was interesting to talk to. You asked him anything about the Bible, and he could explain it so clearly. He wouldn't go into a lot of detail and bring this one in and that one, and he'd explain it so thoroughly that he was very interesting to talk to about the Bible. He knew it very, very well. Sure
He was
did.
pretty clever too, wasn't he?
He was.
Little,
Oh,
I remember something he made with a bottle. I can't remember just how, where the guy would, like out of chewing gum. You remember that? He'd make that out of chewing gum. And the guy would go down and then it'd come back up.
Yeah, with gum.
Yeah.
He'd chew up gum and make a little man and put it in the bottle.
yeah, he was handy, yeah.
Yeah, and he had that perpetual motion. He worked on that.
Yeah, they run for 3
For a
days.
long time, he was working on perpetual modes, you know, something that works all the time, but
Yeah.
never did work out. But he was handy, though.
Yeah, they run
In
for 3
fact,
days.
my dad was a good skater, and a good skier, you know. And one time we went up to John Ball Park, skiing up there, you know. And I can remember, you went on the stump, you know, oh, you went away, broke his ski. He made his own skis, you know.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh.
He'd get ash and soak them in hot water, and till they get, and then they bend them up.
And he showed me how to keep them bent. Yeah, taking 2 sticks this way and 3 that way.
Yeah, he said he learned that in
Clamp 'em.
Sweden. He said you couldn't buy skis there. You made your own, and you made your own
Curving.
skates.
He made his own skates too. you know.
Skates too. And his own skis, yeah.
But anything come with metal, because he could pound left-handed or right-handed. It's as easy as can be. Well, he said you had to they pounded rivets that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so just to get tired, you just pound the iron.
Remember when that emery wheel broke and knocked him off in that scaffold? Broke his shoulder? He was laid up then for a while.
Grandpa, he got hit with a emery wheel.
Yeah, it split in half.
Emery
It hit him in the shoulder.
It worked. Yeah, it worked. He said there was a young fellow that he was in the instructing,
Yeah.
and he didn't put that emery wheel on tight enough, and your dad come up to inspect it, and it hit him in the chest.
Yeah.
Laid up quite a while.
Yeah, they're very.
Well, that's Grandpa though.
Grandpa.
Yeah.
Grandpa. Yeah. It worked before they made it. Yeah. It laid up.
Yeah, they're very careful when you put on fast-speed emery wheels because they got.
You never know when they're going to disintegrate.
And like a fellow I worked down at a Ford Motor Company, he said, when you start up, be on the side, he says, because you test them all, he said, If they're gonna break, they'll break when they first start. That's all right.
You worked at Ford Motor Company?
During the war.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My dad was stuck it on him.
I was setup man down there. I set 17 different machines up there.
Oh, wow.
Well, I was in the, first I worked up on the Highland Park plant. And then they transferred a whole bunch of us down to the Rouge plant, you know. Oh, I said, oh, well, that was a dirty place. He says, but I come out, they put us on an assembly line. 6 of us went down there. And they put it on the assembly line for Jeeps. They're making like a Jeep. And so 5 of us quit. 1 of them stayed. And during the war, you couldn't quit. You know, they won't let you go because you're going to get. They let us go all the way up to the front office. Then they put us in the same building over in the machine shop. So I worked in the machine shop. And then they were bringing another line of machines in there. And the assistant superintendent, he was a nice fellow, great big guy. Like he's sweet. He says, why don't you set these up?
Sweet, yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you set them up? But they bring over 1 machine at a time. Great big monstrosities with buttons all over it. You said, how are you going to run that? But you break it on, it's done to them, you know. And so, if you got a mic, I said, no. I said, well, get a couple of mics, because I have a 1-inch mic and a 2-inch mic for inspection on the jobs. They made that line, they made the assembly for the steering on a Ford tractor. The ball out it, and the hinge on the side of it for steering. And they'd cut them and mill them, and then they'd grind the ball, see? And,
Oh, I didn't know you worked for Ford ever.
oh yeah, worked there. In fact, I got my ribs broke there.
Sure. We were in Detroit 5 years.
Oh.
Went there to be a doctor.
The guy grew up there, he grabbed me back there, and I happened to have air out, and he'd give me a squeeze, and I could hear.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, after we got out of school, he went to Detroit, and figuring that you could make money and start up.
Well, there was nothing doing here, you know.
No, there was nothing here. You couldn't hardly get a job.
Oh.
That was 42, 41, 42, something like that.
Uncle Abe, what did Uncle Oscar do? What did Uncle Oscar do?
Oscar,
Rough carpenter.
your dad got him a job with Dademan as a rough carpenter, and he broke Oscar in carpenter work. But Oscar was more of a rough carpenter, see. Your dad was a finish carpenter. Anything, he'd do everything, but when the finishing come, he did the finishing on it because he was so immaculate on that. But he broke an arc. In fact, at that time they put in wood lasers for plastering, you know. And they had to be just right. When Dad come along, take them off, put them in right.
Then he married Aunt Bernice. Did they have a big wedding? Aunt Bernice?
When Oscar married Bernice.
Nothing was big time back in then. No, let's get it over with. They didn't do things up big like they do now.
Not too much. Now, Norm and I married in October of 48.
Yeah, we got married.
And I remember Grandpa Danielson didn't leave the house much.
No.
By then. Now, Grandma came to our wedding.
Yeah.
In fact, Grandpa, my dad didn't come to our wedding.
Oh, yeah.
But Earl was supposed to pick him up for the reception.
Uh-huh.
He never did. He didn't want to go to the wedding. He didn't want to go to the wedding, but he'd go to the reception.
Oh, yeah.
But Earl never picked him up, see.
Uh-huh.
But he wasn't the one to get around.
No,
My mother
no.
would go any place. But
Yeah, she did. I used to remember her coming over to Art and Elma's all the time. But Grandpa spoke with a strong accent. I can remember that. He had a strong accent. You probably don't think so because you were
so
used to it.
used to it.
Yeah, but I remember one thing. We used to bring our children when they were small. We used to go visit them. And Grandpa could walk out in the yard and look down and spot a four-leaf clover.
Just like that.
Just like
remember
that.
that.
You only have one eye.
Yeah,
You're blind in one eye.
just amazing.
He was blind in one eye?
Yeah.
What happened to him?
Oh, the pupil of his eye shot right across the room, landing on right beside my dad.
What?
He got an infection behind his eye.
Is that right?
The pupil shot. Yeah. But he wouldn't go to a doctor. All that pain.
He said that Grandpa's was blind in one eye. His pupil shot out of his eye.
Infection behind it.
That would do it. He had a bad eye, yeah. But, yeah, he had a bad eye, all right, but besides his hearing.
Yeah, bad hearing.
That was all caused by working down to the PM shop.
Yeah,
And he got
it's
hurt so many times.
Yeah.
pretty hazardous. Nowadays, that wouldn't happen. You don't allow that anymore. But Grandma used to have, I remember she had this one cupboard. She had this cabinet, you know, with the flour bin and everything on the top, and she had one drawer there that she had sugar cookies. She always had sugar cookies for my kids.
Grandpa's favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Our kids
And the kids would come
hole in the middle,
with a
yeah.
hole in the middle.
Yeah.
So put that on the finger and eat all the way around.
Don't eat the whole. They put their finger
That's how he told you how to eat them. He told you how to eat them.
That's cookies, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Grandpa told you how to eat them?
Yeah, just put it on your finger and you eat around it.
Yeah.
Grandpa did that with Grandpa like donuts or fried things, always. And sugar cookies, that was Grandpa's favorite.
Oh, yeah.
He's like a Sweets is their middle name.
Did Grandma make any particular Swedish dishes? Do you
Never.
remember that? No
She
Swedish
never cooked
meatballs?
Swedish. She never baked Swedish.
Not very much, no.
No.
In fact, I think, well, she was 16 when she came over, I guess.
Yeah.
But she must not did much cooking home. My dad knew more about Swedish cooking
Oh, really?
than my mother did. In fact, there's a Swedish dish they call panakaka, pancake. They made it in a pan, you know. And he taught my mother how to make that.
Oh, for gosh sake.
She could make a good white cake.
Oh.
Grandma could bake good, but she never baked anything Swedish, and she never cooked anything Swedish.
I don't even remember eating over there ever.
No, we never had a meal.
Any meal, you know.
Grandpa ate Wheaties every morning, I know that.
Yeah, I remember that.
I like the Wheaties.
Wheaties and sugar cookies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Were there ever any big accidents in the family or fires and anything that...
What do you want, tragedy?
No, but I'm trying to get history
It's a
here.
normal family.
No, but a lot of families do have fires. Barns or houses or...
Grandpa drank warm water.
My father fell out of a tree and was in the hospital a long time. And did anything ever happen to anybody?
Yeah, my dad fell off a scaffold. He had these big coveralls on and just floated right down.
Floated?
Danielson talking.
Yeah, he did. Because his overalls were big for him. And that broke his fall. What I'm saying. He didn't fly around the room or nothing.
Falling off a scaffold.
That kind of people.
No, but I can remember when they lived on Center Street, we had a barn, and we put a rope in between the barn and the tree, and they had a pulley. your dad and I. And so we slide down that thing. Well, that thing broke.
We used to have that big Victrola at Grandma and Grandpa's house. Remember the big Victrola? Crank up thing?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it had a place for records in there.
Right. And they would play some song just about every time we went. And I've been trying to, once it came back to me and then it never came back to me again. Some Swedish song.
Yeah, Grandpa had Swedish records.
Yeah.
He did.
See, I bought that.
Long way to
One thing about a
Tipperary.
canary is all that comes to my memory, but...
Long way
I
to
bought that
Tipperary.
Victrola down to,
Yeah, they had that record.
Maybe that was Tipperary, hey, not Canary.
that's when they
Yeah,
had
they had that record.
the crank on it. It had place for records on both
Yeah.
sides. I don't know if the record is, she still got the record or not, but there's a lot of old records in there.
Yeah.
Fats Waller, you know. And,
Oh, really?
Yeah. And,
Well, I know they had some Swedish ones because they played those. Or
yeah.
I'd play them, whatever.
Uh-huh.
So
Something about a canary, I think.
Huh.
She wasn't Tipperary?
Yeah, no.
No, I think it
Yellow,
was Tipperary.
yellow canary or something like that.
Yellow canary. Oh.
No, not yellow canary.
Grandma Nagel had that record, Yes We Had No Bananas, they used to play over there. They had the same kind of phonograph. But
yeah, that was a popular song at that time.
Grandma Dance had It's a Long Way to Tipperary, used to play for us all the time.
Well, what about like during wartime, when war broke out? None of you boys were ever called to serve, or
No.
no?
No, when I was in Detroit, see that my job, of course, we had Carol at that time, So they weren't up to that. But see, I was a job setter down there, so I was
Exempt?
exempt from that.
Yeah.
So they signed out that I was needed to.
He's caught for it.
Well, I was never home.
Oscar never had to go either, or?
Well, Oscar was too young. Oscar was much younger.
Oscar.
What about your dad?
No, I don't think he ever
He had
Was
too
he
many
called,
kids.
or-
He had 7 kids. He didn't have
Well, you
enough.
had enough children,
You had over 5
and you didn't
kids.
have to go. I think Art, because he had, what, 4 or 5 children at that
6,
time.
yeah.
So then they let you stay home and work because they didn't need you. They wouldn't want to support you.
They took the elements first. They never got up that far.
So they didn't get up to where they needed them with men with a lot of children.
For me, I quit joining the National Guard and it kept me out of it.
Yeah, your dad joined the
He
National
did?
Guard.
No, he got mad when I did it.
Yeah.
I
We
hated it.
did.
I hated that army.
I
How
thought
do you
that
manage
was...
that if they were Jehovah's Witnesses?
Right.
They weren't doing
They weren't that?
They weren't doing it. No, see, years ago it wasn't like it is now.
Oh, no?
They were going.
They weren't
kind of
fanatic.
overboard and everything, you know. But it wasn't like it was.
Oh.
It wasn't.
No, the National Guard stayed here. That was to protect your own home.
Yeah, the home front,
But-
the home guard, they called it. Yeah.
Yeah, they never went across the
Now
National
they're the
Guard.
first ones to go.
Did they celebrate Christmas and birthdays?
Sure.
Art and Elma did?
And Grandma Daigle's house, yeah.
Until he got older, they did, sure. So,
Because Jehovah's Witnesses don't.
Yeah, we never had a Christmas tree that I never knew
No,
in my house.
no. Grandma never
Well, I went to
did.
Grandma Daigle's every year, that's why.
Yeah.
Well, niece had one in the corner of the bedroom so Ma couldn't see it. No, because Grandpa said that was some kind of a Nimrod celebration. That was before Christ's time that they celebrated
Started in
Christmas
Germany.
trees. And that's why the witnesses never celebrated it. That's what Grandpa said.
And it actually was. It started in Germany. I
Well, really, he's right.
no, they're absolutely, they're right as far as Jehovah.
They got it.
They're absolutely correct about Christmas.
Yeah.
Even now.
But it's just
so
now, it's
commercial
got
now.
such a commercialized thing.
It's
And they
commercial.
didn't
Now-
They celebrated before they ever had Christmas, you know, at that time.
Well, Santa Claus too. They say the Germans celebrated that before even Christ was born. Your Santa Claus. So,
Yeah, well, there's nothing religious about Santa Claus.
no.
Commercial.
But still,
It's just a moneymaker.
Yeah, it's
There's a racket.
Of course, Santa Claus was so.
But still,
Yeah.
Christmas gets families together, you know, and they're also celebrating Christ.
Sort of reunion.
Even if about the tree and Santa, it's still a, you know,
But they got
healthy.
carried away by commercialism
Yeah.
nowadays.
There's a commercial part to it, but
And ruined
well, look
it.
at, they never had, years ago, they never had the Mother's Day or Father's Day or
Right.
a day like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where were the family members buried? The different places, cemeteries. Do you remember?
Both my mother and father were buried up to Washington Park.
And Oscar's buried right next to
Oh, Washington Park.
Yeah.
right near the road. They're not too
are
far from
they?
my folks.
I don't think I ever,
But
I
they never
didn't
had a
remember
stone up
that.
there.
and with that, they
They're
weren't
very
stone
close
in there.
together.
Oh, yeah.
Washington Park, I didn't know where that is.
Up on Richmond.
Richmond.
Oh, okay.
Do they have stones? They don't have stones?
No, my dad didn't.
No.
No, my mother and father either never had some.
No.
We talked about doing that and we never did get around to it.
Well,
They didn't want it.
my dad says, the dead are dead, leave them alone, you know. And so he
Return to the dust.
Never for that. He wouldn't care if I ever a stone in his place. But,
What about Art and Elma's firstborn? Is she buried where they're buried?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't remember that.
More like.
You ever hear from
I've been-
Denise anymore? You ever hear from Denise? Denise?
I say, I haven't seen her for so long. And the only thing I ran up, about 6-7 months ago, I ran up to, I was up to Kmart, and I see Glenn up there. In fact, I was looking at the ads in front there, And the fellow looked at me. He said, "You know me?" I says, "You look familiar." It was Glenn. Howard Records. Uncle Abe. Oh, Glenn, I see. But he was heavy then.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, his initials,
See, now he's got to be getting older, too.
his initials are G-O-D, and they didn't realize it until he was about 6 years old. His initials spelled kind.
I just, I'm wondering, was there ever any musical talent in the family? Now, my children have been really musically inclined.
My grandchildren are too.
Yeah.
Of course, my dad.
Yeah, now there is on my side of the family,
And
but I
my
was
dad's
wondering
side.
if on the
Learned in school.
Danielsons there ever
I
was.
never heard.
Did Grandpa ever play an instrument, or Grandma, or
No.
sing, or
Never heard him
my
sing.
dad ever play anything?
Never heard him sing. Never heard.
Well, I've heard my dad sing,
Maybe you did, but I.
and
Not grandma.
my dad was a good dancer. That's probably where I met.
Probably,
See.
yeah.
But he liked to dance. He liked the music.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as hear him play an instrument, no.
You never played an instrument?
Could he carry a tune?
You know what? Well, when Doris May was living in Grand Haven, and we took the grandchildren up there for something, I don't know, and Linda was about a year old or something like that, and Grandpa was singing and goofing off, and she says, "Grandpa, you shit, take aspirin."
All the babes.
Well, I don't know where you guys got your musical talent, but I don't remember any.
Wasn't from the Daniels.
I didn't get any.
Yeah.
But didn't Lois sing?
Lois
Oh,
was there.
Schubert.
Jack was always good. I never
Well, the
heard
Schubert
Lois
was-
sing. I've heard you sing.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, I heard those.
She had a good, they say she had a
Opera,
beautiful voice.
opera voice.
In fact, I was surprised I heard Jack sing. I said, where'd he come from, you know?
Our son Mike, he's pretty good singing.
Our
Plays the drums.
son Mike is good, yeah. He's really the most interested in music of all of them, and his daughter
Yeah.
did a solo just last week at school, first grade.
Yeah.
And Jacqueline.
Yeah, my
Jack
daughter,
Jr.
Jacqueline sings.
And Jack
She's a
Jr.
good singer.
Jack Jr.
Jack Jr.'s got a
Sounds
good
like
voice.
yeah,
Jack. Yeah, he's got a great voice too. They both do.
Jacqueline might do some, she likes, Jack, my son Jack is a little reserved, you know, he doesn't
Yeah.
How is he?
quite get he's doing good.
He's great.
He's
great.
on the board to Mexico.
He's got a great wife. We just love both of them.
Is that nice of you?
Yeah.
You like to see your children get married to somebody that...
Yeah, just
Yeah.
yeah. Closer. That's the only
Oh,
hard
his
getting
wife,
so
she's,
far away.
she's,
Yeah,
She seems like a sweetheart.
She's
she's,
Yeah, she is.
Very special.
Yeah, they're perfect for each other.
yeah, but Jacqueline's very, very talented. She's,
Well, Kathy just come down to tell us they're getting married in April.
That's pretty exciting. Yeah.
My daughter's daughter, granddaughter.
Yeah.
She's going to get through college this fall. She works in the bank,
Uh-huh.
and they're going to get married they wanted to get married this fall, or in May or in June. You cannot get any place to have a reception in.
you gotta find a year ahead.
Yeah.
That's a whole world out there.
She didn't think
Wrote
of
by
that.
Adrian's the other day, it says, planned now for 93.
Yeah, her
Now you have to have a year. Jack, be sure, write this in your calendar. Melissa's getting married July 11th. I have not ordered invitations yet. So put July 11th on your calendar.
Well, like Kathy said, that they made theirs 2 weeks ago, reservations, I guess. And now April is all filled up.
Wow.
They had their choice
Yeah.
in April, but she says now,
We
now
don't
you
have
can't
time.
get a station.
I had to, for Adrian's, I had to wait. Adrian's, some places are booked 2 years ahead. Adrian said 1 year of the day you can reserve it. So on July 11th of 91, I waited in line, and they opened like at 9 o'clock in the morning. I was there like 8 o'clock in the morning in a line waiting to try to get a room.
Oh,
That's how bad it is. That's why I want to be able to buy one of those places. But we should really book Jacqueline's wedding probably right now.
Probably.
That's a good idea.
But Jacqueline's a beautiful voice.
So you got married in Grand Rapids though, right?
Yeah, we got married over here to the Friday Club. You know where the Naval Reserves place is?
Yeah.
Back
Back there was
Iowa what?
there was a hall. There was a hall.
Green building, yeah.
Yeah,
We had a few parties
They
there.
had a reception there.
Yeah, we had Reverend Drucker. I used to go to
Mr. Drucker?
What the
In Green
heck is that
Acres,
church
yeah.
on Davis?
I don't know, Christian Reform?
No, not a Christian.
Never.
I didn't go there.
No, but I did, so he married us at the hall.
What kind of
Oh.
church was it? Was it Methodist or?
Not Seven, I think it's not Seven. It's on Davis Street near Leonard there.
Right off of it. No,
Was it
just
a
little-
denomination? Was it undenominational church or?
Just a church.
It's a regular Reformed church.
That rings a bell. That's why I went. I thought.
It's on Davis, right near Leonard.
Yeah.
I think my parents. It seems like that was one that they talked about.
And then after he married us, he went to New York to teach. He said he liked young people and he was teaching, but he did marry us to the Flathead Club. That 57 years ago, Monday.
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 Happy
Well,
anniversary.
happy anniversary.
57 years.
Just think, living that long with one person.
They said it would never last.
Yeah.
Number 4 hours.
The Trinity
44
Reformed
years of
Church.
Christian Reform, yeah.
Trinity Reform, that's
Trinity
right.
Reform.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very
Oh,
open
yeah.
church. It's a,
Your dad and mother was married on, what's this church on Brick Tree on top of the hill up there?
who, your mother? My mother.
I said, what's the name of the church up on Michigan Hill there? That the friend used to work with down to over in Brass.
Lutheran.
She used to go
Oh,
there.
that big church.
That's that big
Emmanuel
church.
Lutheran?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's where my mom and dad were married?
German church.
They were married
Oh.
next door in the house there. The ceremony.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's where they were married.
just a family affair. Must be.
It must have been just small because
Yeah,
Yeah, we were married on
Did they
Wakefield.
have that minister though?
they had that ministry.
From Emmanuel Lutheran? Goodness, we're a Lutheran. We should have kept the family.
Yeah, we go to Lutheran church now.
oh, Richmond Church?
Lutheran,
Lutheran.
We go to
Which
Trinity.
one? On,
on Fulton Street, Trinity Lutheran.
Trinity Lutheran. Oh,
Donna works there.
well, that's good.
She's a youth leader.
Get that good job?
That's a good place to work in
You
church.
bet.
Get that good job and you're...
Yeah.
You
Now,
got it?
Uncle
Yeah.
Abe, you studied to become a chiropractor, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but did you ever practice at all?
Well, see, I left here and went to New York.
Oh, to New York.
Yeah, and I got a place in Fredonia. See,
Uh-huh.
but you know, it's slow starting up there.
Yeah.
Then well, Katie stayed here. See,
Uh-huh.
and then she got real sick.
And the kids were
The kids were all sick.
We're all sick.
And so I couldn't continue there, so I
Mhm.
just give it up and come back. I had to, you know. I mean, it was just one of those things that didn't work out.
Oh,
You couldn't
no.
get a license in Michigan at that time, right?
No, I didn't. You know, see, I'd have to take basic science, and I wasn't qualified. I couldn't get in on that education.
You never finished high school and you can't take basic science.
We went down to Kentucky.
Trigonometry.
I had a Kentucky license,
Mm-hmm.
and I could reciprocate different ones. I could have been at that time in New York that they weren't licensed, but the ones who were in there at that time could practice because they get the grandfather clause there. But I couldn't stay there long enough to. But that's up in Fredonia.
Mm.
I thought you moved
Now-
to Detroit. I thought you moved to Detroit. That's what I always understood.
Well, he did live in Detroit for 5 years. That's when he worked at the Ford factory.
So that was during the war. See,
I mean to
Uh-huh.
be a
after I come from school.
I thought you did your chiropractic.
No.
Oh, I got that wrong.
Uncle Abe, do you remember anything about that big influenza gosh, when was it? About 1918 when so many died.
Well, that's where the
Well, I remember
chiropractic got
that.
their start at that time. See,
Oh,
because
was it?
because the ones that were under chiropractics here
Uh-huh.
were getting better than all the other ones combined. And after
Uh-huh.
that, there was a big influx of chiropractors because in the Army, the chiropractors there would take care of the fellows, and they would get better quicker than anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
That's how they got their big start
Uh-huh.
in the World War. That was influenza. The same way with They had polio at that time. And they had the arrested cases that weren't doing anything for so many years. They call them arrested cases. Well, some of these chiropractors, they was going to the chiropractors, and some of these people started getting better. And they said they couldn't figure it out. Why? Well, what are you doing different? Well, they just went to a chiropractor. So when some of these ones that had polio was getting improvement in health.
Oh, yeah.
That and with influenza, the influenza was a big start for chiropractors because.
Oh, for goodness sake.
You know, that's how they got one of the big starts.
Oh, yeah.
And Louis Pasteur got all the credit for that.
Now, to this day, could you give an adjustment? Do you feel that you could?
I wouldn't adjust to anybody, no.
Wouldn't
He
you?
purchased it on the old lady when she
Did
had a
he?
headache
Yeah.
or something like that, you know.
Because
I give a good Swedish massage.
Well, you can never tell them no because you got a headache.
in fact, now it's so tough. It's tough on the medical doctors.
Like he's so happy.
Sure.
The
No malpractice, yeah.
Like you touched anybody and
Everybody's so happy now.
Sure.
trouble with it now.
Yeah.
That's for in the same way with well, even medical doctors, but chiropractors got to be extra careful.
Yeah.
Anybody
He used to work
in
on
any
French
line of work nowadays,
Oh, yeah.
even our business.
They finally let you collect on your insurance for chiropractors. Finally,
It's hard,
that's
sure. They talk about discrimination.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
It's hard to, it's hard to get payments for a chiropractor as for a medical doctor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they don't like it, but
See, the law says that you can't adjust a person unless you have an X-ray. See.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And they don't pay for X-rays.
yeah,
Huh.
another gimmick.
But they make them have X-ray before they, you know. But then they would. Now you go. I can go down when I have an operation, an X-ray like that. Nothing to say. X-ray like that. But it's changing, slowly changing. Just say this had this lawsuit against the medical association, you know, and that was settled because for after 11 years, you know, it showed that the medical doctors were running down the chiropractors, and now they lost that. Medical associations lost that. See.
Oh, yeah.
So now it's starting to improve, but it still will be. It's just like anything else.
Now, I kind of remember Art and Alma talking about Doc Gildy from North Park.
He was some.
They
my family went to him too.
respected him. It seems to me that they said that he saved Claire's life.
Yeah.
Now, do you...
Give them hot and cold water.
Yeah, he was wonderful. He knew how to adjust and where to adjust. And
Yeah.
He was one of those exceptional ones.
he was just wonderful.
But like I say, if he started now, he'd have trouble. See.
Sure. Yeah,
But,
it's all changed.
Well, she goes to digraph,
Dr.
which is,
Digraph.
what relation is she?
Well, he said that Dr. Gilty really saved him because his mother had lost
saved
so
Clark.
many babies.
Mhm.
And he went to Dr. Gildy when he
That's how he started.
Yeah.
He says
Yeah.
that
He saved Claire
if
too.
somebody can do that, he says they must do something. That's how he started.
Oh, yeah.
Because I talked to him about Dr. Gildy. He said,
Mm-hmm.
Back years ago, why did the family come over from Sweden?
just like everybody else, it was a land of hope over here.
Milk and honey.
Did they ever talk about the old country? Anything? Any memories from back there?
Oh, some, yeah, but not too much.
Did they talk about, I've heard that they have so many days of total darkness and so much of total sunshine. Have you ever heard, do you recollect that at all, or?
In Sweden?
In Sweden, yeah.
I don't know how, I don't know if it's true of Sweden or not.
I never heard that.
You never heard that?
Alaska has it.
From Alaska has it.
Yeah.
I think over there it is partially, you know, but I don't know.
Did you ever hear what boat they came over on? Did you ever hear what boat they came over on?
Ship. They're not boats.
Ship? I don't know whether it's good.
They didn't come over at the same time. They didn't come over together.
No, but you don't know the names of the ships by any chance?
And they never talked much about their mother and father.
No.
Not much.
They probably never saw them again once they got
I
over
do
here.
know this much, that when Grandma was born, that they said that she would never live.
Oh.
And she couldn't breathe. She had a hard time breathing, and she said the doctor just took her and put her in a corner on a pillow, and he says, don't take care of her. He says, she'll never live, don't bother with her. And all of at once, she started breathing and kicking, and then they said she'd be all right. But what happened, I don't know. But Grandma did tell me that they didn't expect her to live.
Huh.
She had 5 boys and no trouble. When she had Grandma, then I don't know, just it was something at birth.
Oh, yeah.
A long time
Well,
ago.
she was
Oh,
so
yeah.
short.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, she would talk to her about that when she never
Yeah.
met.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who was short?
Grandma.
Grandma was short?
She's all right.
She's a tough Swede. Oh, she
Yeah.
was.
She wasn't even 5 foot tall, was she?
Really?
Real short.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah, she liked the bum. Oh, she'd go and say, because my dad he could go went any place on train, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She could go to,
She'd take the passes, and Grandpa never went hardly anywhere.
he said, well, you want to go to Chicago? He'd make arrangements so he could go to Chicago. He never cared about going. She'd go to Chicago.
That's where I get it. I'm like that. I'd rather stay home. Most ones go out there.
I guess that's where Ethel got her bumming from, too, Grandma.
Yeah.
Of course, he don't like to bum
No?
much.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you guys taken a couple senior citizen trips, though, haven't you? You told us you went out to Las Vegas with the seniors, didn't you?
Oh, we go every year out there,
Do you? Every year?
just about every year.
And you've gone out to California now to see Doris, haven't you?
Yeah, we went out to see my cousin one time.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't you go on a cruise, too?
Pardon?
Didn't you go on a cruise?
3 of them.
Sure.
3 of them.
Sure.
Wow. Wonderful.
Kids get around, you know?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, when you're young, you can't do those things.
Yeah,
When you've got a family, you just can't. When you get older, what else is there to do?
Sure, you bet.
All you can
Get
do
so
is eat.
sick and tired of talking and looking at each other. You know what he's going to say before he says it?
Yeah.
You know he's going to be wrong no matter what he says.
You take our group now, we was to Canada twice, and we was up at Mackinac, and we was to Las Vegas, I think, about 8 times, I guess.
You gotta try that Mississippi River gambling boat.
Is this
We're going
your
on
senior
in
citizen
June.
group?
Yeah.
With our retirement, it's a bus trip.
We have this
That's
bingo
a cheaper
group.
one.
Oh, it's a bingo group?
It's a bingo group, senior citizens down at the, what do you call it? Is that what we call it?
West Side Complex.
West Side Complex. And we play bingo.
Uh-huh.
And we play bingo. Part of that money goes for our prizes, and part of it goes towards our trip. And if
Oh.
you're there a year, and we have a trip, you get a certain amount discount by being in the bingo a year. Of course, now we have
Huh.
big sales and everything like that. You got to participate in all that. And then when we have bingo, we bake cakes that we sell, and we sell coffee. That all goes towards our trips. Otherwise, you know, it would be harder to go on a trip. But when you get a group to go,
That's right.
and you have that discount, it makes a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
That's how we go.
Oh, well, that's great. Plus, it gives you something to do.
It does, for all these older folks, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, after retired, we went out to see her aunt out in Bakersfield. We stayed there for about a week, went down to Las Vegas there. And then the next year, then we went from that place, we went up to Los Angeles, then we went to Disneyland. We stayed there in Anaheim for 3-4 days. And then the next year, we went down to Disney World. That's the second year they started that season. It's been a long time since there.
Oh,
And we know it
Down
now.
to see Ethel in Florida.
Yeah.
You find her?
Well, that was before we went to see Ethel.
No, when we went to Disneyland, that was the same time.
Disney World.
Sure, we only went to Florida once. Remember?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Uncle Abe, was the family Lutheran back in Sweden? Were they Lutheran? I know it's mostly Lutheran churches back there. Were they Lutheran back there?
I think they were. Most Swedes were Lutherans.
Ironic.
It is.
Yeah.
But I can't remember my dad talking too much about the church there, though.
Well, I do know that Grandma and Grandpa were Lutherans in the old country
Yeah.
before they came here.
Well, see, German
And when they came here, they got, I don't know where they went to church or what, but then they got the Jehovah's Witness work, so.
Oh, no.
But at that time, there was International Bible Students Association. That's a Bible
Now,
student
did you know Alma much? Did you know her before her and Art were married? And her family at all? Or no?
I did.
He did, he went.
I did from the store, you know.
Yeah.
Because she worked the store, and Art worked the store there.
Uh-huh.
And of course, naturally, you go down the store. I knew her from the store, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew her dad. He was too.
Oh.
That's,
Well, apparently, from what I've been told, and I think this is right, that Alma and Fred were Grandpa Nagel's child by his first wife, and that she died and Pat too, in the flu epidemic, and then he married her sister, the one that I knew Grandma Nagel
The one we know is Grandma
married.
Nagel was really not
that's as far as I know.
Mom's
it's true.
Yeah.
mother, you know.
Her mother's sister.
What were the names of, like your great-grandparents, grandparents, what names do you remember, first names? Do you remember either name?
Moritz.
Like Grandpa's name was...
Grandpa's name is Moritz.
Grandpa's name was Moritz.
M-O, how do you spell that?
M-A-M-A-M-A-U-R-T-I-Z.
That was his first name?
Moritz.
And what was his wife's name? And what was his
What was
wife's
Grandma's
name?
name?
Emma.
Emma.
Emma? And
E-M-M-A.
then what was, do you remember their parents' names?
You remember Grandpa's...
Your
Grandpa's
great-grandparents.
dad's name? Your great-grandfather?
Oh, yeah.
You don't remember talking about that?
Must have been Andrew.
Oh.
They never mentioned their front names. Yeah, people...
Now, was Moritz
Okay,
your
right.
father or your grandfather?
His
Moritz
father.
was my father.
Okay, the grandfather that you talked about coming, that was Lutheran. Was that was the Andrew?
That's
His dad.
my grandpa. That's his dad.
Okay.
They don't go back no more than that.
Now, what they did,
Didn't talk about it back
what
then.
they did was that they gave
are
their
different.
first son their first name for a middle name, didn't they? Because Arthur was Arthur Moritz Danielson. Right?
Yeah.
You don't remember that?
My name is Norman Arthur Dan. I'm named
Oh.
after my dad. That was my first son. That's what they tell me.
What's your whole name? Adolph what?
Valentine Danielson.
Born on
Adolph
Valentine's Day.
She was born on Valentine's Day.
Uh-huh.
I never told anybody that.
He was a sweetheart. Pete thought he was a sweetheart, so she married him.
Yeah, he is a sweetheart.
Well, you don't know all about him. He had his moments, just like the rest of us.
But I was
Imagine.
surprised when I changed one of my CDs down in the National Bank down there, and she put down the scanner. Gosh, there's a lot of Danielsons back there. I didn't know if there's that many Danielsons in Grand Rapids. A whole list, something like that. Never heard of them.
When I started going with Norm, there was just our family and there was one other one in Clancy.
Yeah.
And now there's a lot of them.
There was, about 3 of them, I guess, something like that.
Yeah, well, when we were at church last week, Jacqueline was in a program at church, and afterward they had a little coffee. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago, I don't know. Anyhow, this guy come up to me and he said, I think I might be related to you.
God, I hope not.
He says, my name is Danielson. And I said, well, are you from around here? He said, no, we're from Ludington. Oh, now you might have been related to me.
No,
Now that I know that we go back to Ludington.
That was Anderson up
Yeah.
there.
Anderson.
Them are Andersons up there,
Yeah.
not Daniels.
Yeah.
There's this Anderson up there, but
See?
Oh, those are Andersons.
Yeah.
Anderson's.
Same family, but
You
They
would think
didn't change
there's
their name,
so many
like-
Andersons with
like
no-
Red-
Was it Anderson, S-O-N or S-E-N?
That's always
Owen.
Swedish. S-E-N is Danish.
Is it A-N-D-E-R-S-O-N? Is it spelled?
Anderson, was that S-O-N?
S-O-N, Swedish.
That's what one is.
S-E-N is Danish.
All Swedes are S-O-N.
Finnish
Danish.
is S-I-N.
S-E-N is
Ian, Danish.
not always true, but then
Well,
Basically. Yeah. Them Danes, they were mean people. They were bad-tempered people. They
So
were.
when you were like a kid with my dad and
Finnish were not.
Ethel, you had some good times and
oh sure.
played a lot of games and
How about that good old Mountain Dew they used to make in the pump house there? You want to get into that? I used to sample that. We used to ride that water wheel around, come out of that creek, blood suckers all over.
Oh, gosh.
Well,
And then a
you,
water wheel. That,
during Prohibition, about how old were you when they went through that? Do you remember that at all?
Well, I can remember my,
I knew Al Capone.
during probation, we lived on Sweet Street. And that's, just before they put the prohibition in, I can remember my dad buying a bottle of brandy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time I ever, he might have drank that, you know.
Grandma had that in her coffee because she always
And,
had that in her
and
coffee.
he let us put that in our coffee. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
Polly brandy.
Oh.
But after that, my mother used to make home brew after prohibition. You know.
Oh, your mother did?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Oh, my gosh.
We had beer then, yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
I think
everybody
everybody went through that, made their own.
Everybody
They
did.
all went through that.
It's a thing to do.
Yeah.
It's a
and you
kick.
put too much sugar in the beer and it would knock the top off.
Oh.
So I know my folks made it. A lot of times
They
you
made a
get
lot
up
of
and
elderberry wine,
somebody was shooting him. Went off the beer bottles.
Oh, wow.
Everybody had a kind of a thing that they tapped the beer with. It was
Yeah.
a special thing to put on the top,
Uh-huh.
and you put that down real tight. If you didn't, why
Yeah.
it wouldn't work out. And if you put it on real tight and you had too much sugar in it, it would work up anyway. So
Roll that top right up.
yeah, it was a good old days.
My dad had one
for
of
gosh
them bottle
sake.
corkers, cappers.
Well, some people don't like Jarvis. He didn't even cap it or put it in bottles. He used to have it in a crock and have a dipper, and they'd take the beer out in there. He said it isn't so foamy, but it's a lot easier. It's a lot less.
That's that first one, you didn't care what. It worked.
Beer in a crock.
Well, that stuff was strong too.
who was this Jarvis guy?
Next door to my mother's.
Oh,
Yeah.
We have, our daughter-in-law is a Jarvis.
Oh, yeah?
Ellen Jarvis. Tom
Earl
Jarvis.
Jarvis, he was a principal. So,
Road jobs.
Earl, yeah, his son.
What's cool?
Yeah, but his dad was Finnish, and the mother was Swedish. Now, she cooked a lot, baked a lot of Swedish stuff.
yeah.
Oh, she lived next door to my mother on Power.
First good bit.
Mm-hmm.
She was, of course, she'd from the old country, but she baked a lot of Swedish stuff. Oh, boy.
well, you're Hungarian, so do you make good goulash?
Yeah, but now...
Hungarian dish, goulash, Hungarian.
Oh, yeah, see, now the Hungarians, they don't put tomatoes in their goulash.
They don't got peppers.
Oh,
Everybody makes no
really?
difference, but
The old
And
country,
isn't the real Hungarian is with like more stew beef instead of hamburger?
oh, yeah.
Elbow
Okay.
macaroni.
Beef
Yeah.
roast, they cut it up in
Beef
chunks,
roast.
and then when that was done, then you put carrots and potatoes in, and
Oh,
onions,
wow.
and a little garlic, nothing else. But
Oh,
here-
really?
Here, you get
Macaroni?
everything.
goulash is everything over
Everything.
here.
Uh-huh.
but
Not in Hungary.
Not really.
Huh.
You don't put a macaroni in it?
Oh, yeah.
Because even the Hungarians make it different too, but
Oh, yeah.
the
Sure.
basic things is.
Uh-huh.
You do yourself.
Sure.
If you
Try
like
one of the
something,
peppers,
you put it
Jack?
in.
Yeah.
Them Hungarian peppers?
Mhm.
You try one?
Paprikash, oh
Oh,
yeah,
God.
chicken.
Oh, are they hot? I just touched it on my lips. Jerry gruesome. Just touched it there and my lips swallowed.
But now the Hungarians don't make it
I can
hot.
eat the jalapeno.
No,
The one you buy.
No,
here.
they're food time.
They use sweet paprika that's made of sweet pepper, so it can't be hot. That's what all they use.
It's all they get
In,
in Hungarian.
It's,
Chicken paprikash.
Frugal Gourmet has some Hungarian recipes. You ever read his books? He puts on cookbook. He's on Saturday, on television, Saturday afternoon. Frugal Gourmet, he calls it. He has a lot of Hungarian recipes.
I have a few too.
So when you were younger then, did you like go on picnics with the
Well, that
your
was
kids?
always picnics every Saturday and every Sunday.
Well, I went with the picnics on their family, but as far as our family, we didn't have it.
Yeah.
Well, up in North Park, you didn't need a picnic, because you have to picnic up there all the time.
You had your picnic, you had your grounds there. They went fishing a lot, Grandpa.
Yeah, Grandpa used to take us kids fishing on it.
Down by the river. Yeah, Grandpa liked fishing. He
Oh,
liked
yeah,
fishing.
he should throw a line out there and start fishing with the pole. He had a good rod at his telescope. I'd like to find one of them now.
Like they always told me, so over in Sweden, you know, like trout here, you know, they got trout over there too. But they go down and catch them by hand, you know.
Catch them by hand.
Oh yeah, you can do that. They go by the stream there and put your hand on there and feel them and you pull them up.
Well, yeah, you know, Grandpa said too. They take a great big, like this horse blanket, safety pins, and put it on your shoestring and drop it in the water, and he said they catch fish that way.
Do you remember who Art and Alma's witnesses were when they got married? Who stood up with them?
They didn't back.
I stood up.
No, I think you had to have
You
someone
did
stand
stand
up.
up
I
then?
stood up.
Legal.
Oh, yeah?
Oh.
Yeah, they were married legally.
What?
All right, no. Who was the other one? I don't know.
They would have to have two witnesses.
I bet that's in the records downtown. You should look that up.
Oh, Pat.
Pat?
Pat.
Oh, yeah.
Pat Johnson.
Pretty sure.
Pat
That was
Johnson.
Pat Johnson.
Probably, yeah.
Your sister.
Elma was
Yeah,
real
that's her
close
best
with
friend.
Dad.
It'd be Pat, yeah.
Yeah.
Pat and I.
Oh,
As
yeah.
far as I
She was really always close. Mom was always close to Pat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
always
always
are.
Well, Pat's husband Walt used to go with Mom, I know that, before
Did
my
anybody
dad.
sing at the thing? I mean, I know it was small, but I know our weddings that were very small, they still had like someone sing a song sometimes.
They
Well,
go for that fancy.
After they got married, they had to get together over to Alma's folks over in Comstock Park.
They
Oh.
drank a lot. So they go to party. They like to party.
That's when Art had the Maxwell, I think.
I remember that.
They went,
I think I heard that they went to New York for their honeymoon.
and yeah,
That must have really been
That did quite
a trip.
yeah.
I don't know what
In the
happened.
train or in the car?
Souvenirs they brought
I
out.
think it was in the car.
Oh, wow.
Because that had to be probably the 20s. Because Norm was born in 29, and Lois is older than him.
Might have been.
But I remember seeing this picture of the Statue of Liberty, that they had the Statue of Liberty.
There used to be a lot of novelties
Well,
they brought home too, but I don't know what happened to all this stuff. Was it Jack Scudder or
Because my mother tells about
nobody else?
when they used to, you know, the older
Jack or
cars,
Ricky, you know,
when
We have
they
nothing.
would go camping.
We have absolutely
And
nothing.
they would go up
up there.
Cadillac was a whole day trip.
We have a pocket watch.
pictures.
So I
That's all
can
we
imagine
have.
going to New York.
I got
Oh,
two
yeah.
pictures.
Quite a trip.
One good thing, we had running boards years ago, and if you went someplace to picnic or any place, you didn't have a trunk in the back, just a little bit for
I got one of them racks you put on there, you clamp it on there and
Yeah.
stretch it on.
Yeah.
I still got that rack off my desk.
Uh-huh.
Well, when Katie and I got married, we took the next year, was it next year?
2 years.
We went up to Niagara Falls in Durant.
Oh.
And
That was a good time.
that was quite a trip. But we left here, we worked that day.
Mm-hmm. 4 o'clock.
And,
Worked that day. Oh
And
my gosh.
we drove up to Hamilton. Was it Hamilton?
Hamilton or Kitchener, one of them.
Kitchener.
Kitchener.
But, geez, I think it took about 10 hours.
Yeah. 4 o'clock in the morning. we got-
Yeah, 4 o'clock, I think we got there about 4 o'clock in the morning, and we stayed in the motel there, and we both took a shower, and we went to bed, and after a couple, 3 hours, we woke up,
3 hours. We were.
and so then we went, after that, we checked out, we went to Niagara Falls.
Oh.
I remember that too. When we
Probably
went to Niagara
so-
Falls, you could go on on the American side, you could go down,
Yeah.
you change your clothes into a felt shoes and felt rubber, had a felt suit with rubber over it, and you could go down with the elevator, go down the bottom of the falls. And they had a ramp going around there. You could walk right down the bottom of the falls.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was worth it.
Oh, yeah.
And then it went on the Maiden, Mr. Maiden?
Maiden
Mist.
Maiden Mist.
You rode that?
Up through there too. But
Yeah.
that going down down to the tunnel on the side. Oh, that was exciting. You could see that water come down there.
Oh, I bet.
You got all wet, you get sprayed all over, but boy, that was something.
Boy, that sounds exciting. Well,
Well, see, that was a long ways for.
Oh, sure, one of those cars, they didn't go very fast.
No.
Yeah, when we got to Niagara Falls, when we got to Canada, we kept on going on the road, and all of a sudden, end of the road. They were repairing the road. You could hardly turn around and go back. There was no place else to go. The road ended right in front of you. There was a great big deep finish. That was the end. Now here they warn you. They tell you,
Yeah.
the road ahead of construction. There. End of the road. You're there. Go back.
Were you going somewhere when we dropped in on you?
Did what?
Are you going somewhere this afternoon? When we just dropped in, you're like this, I know. But did you have plans?
You know what we're going to do?
What?
Look at each other and complain.
Oh, what?
You were just changing the bed, that's all.
No, I took the bedding, I took his bedding off. I took, the kids got us for Christmas each electric pad on top of the mattress and one on top of you. So I was stripping the beds and taking that off. That's it.
I thought it was going to be warm.
I know.
Not very warm out today.
No, but now look how warm it has been.
I know.
Yeah, last
You don't
night.
use covers. So
Yeah.
Mosquitoes were the thick
That was
yesterday
right.
all day long.
that's my main excitement of the day.
Oh, gosh.
No, the main excitement was the Kathy come down here.
Well, Kathy came down to tell us, yeah, when she's going to get married. And we went next door to my sister's for a minute.
Now, you two had 2 daughters, right? And how old are they? That's Carol and Doris?
Carol's 53,
Oh, my goodness.
and Doris May was born on Decoration Day.
Uh-huh.
She was born 10 years after we were married, so she will be 47 on the 30th.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Doris has just one child?
Yes, for 12 years she had Taggart.
Oh, yeah.
My oldest
She had
one's
that
40.
getting players.
Oh, yeah, she
Sorry.
wanted one. She tried to adopt one, and she just couldn't. And then finally she went through a lot, and she had Taggart.
Yeah.
And
She
her husband passed
never had
away.
children, but
What?
Didn't her husband pass away?
Yeah, about
Yeah.
3 years ago. Yeah.
And did she got married again?
No,
No,
she
not
has
yet.
a boyfriend. She was home for Christmas with her boyfriend and her little boy, but he wants to get married and she doesn't know yet. She says, I just don't want to jump into it. So, but he's been married twice.
Oh.
He says, I make a
forget it.
wonderful lover, but a hell of a husband, so.
You better just go together.
Yes, he's
Well,
very
see,
nice.
out in California, the way the law is, they get the benefits, and he's assured his education and with a help. And like this, her boyfriend, now their history, I was thinking to myself, a lot of them die of heart attacks, and he's pretty heavy, see, so maybe she figures everything out. She'd rather be assured. She's thinking first of her. And she said, if I didn't have a son, I would get married.
It would be different.
But it's such an advantage with her, a peace of mind. So the education and the help she gets from the state of
From the
California.
state of California.
It's much.
I see.
In fact, that's why there's trouble up there.
Uh-huh.
But
They get much more than they do here
I
for their children.
he'd get married in a minute, so she's well.
Yeah, so I think.
Got a,
Now they have a place where you can buy children's clothes, the widows,
Uh-huh.
and your school books and your everything. California takes care of theirs. They don't here, but they do there with the widows.
Uh-huh.
And she said, I don't know what I want to do. She says, if I want to get married or stay single or what. But
Mhm.
they're happy, so I guess that's all.
Yeah, so it counts. Now, Carol had how many children?
4.
4.
Yeah,
And-
Joan is 53.
Uh-huh.
I don't mean Joan is 53. Joan is 32. Carol's 53.
Carol's
Okay,
53.
okay,
Yeah.
32.
And Joan is 32, and she has Casey.
Uh-huh.
Casey's going to be 13.
Oh, my.
Yeah, and
Teenager.
Kathy is going to be, well, she's 29 right now, and she's the one that's going to get married in April.
Uh-huh.
She's engaged, and Linda is 25. Linda is engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Well, her boyfriend has 2 homes in the Prada homes.
Oh,
One was 55 and one was 61, if you still have the
They got
pictures.
2 homes in there.
Yeah, I'll show you the pictures. Yeah, he builds homes.
Oh,
I'm busy
My
helping
numbers.
decorate, but he's with the Han Builders, I guess is. But he's a CPA, you see. And so, but I think they've built, so far they've built 5 homes together. They got 2 in Fred homes. So, besides being a CPA, he does that on the
Does
side.
that too, huh?
Oh,
And David,
You
he's
think we can use
25, and he
we can
has
use
10 acres out by Edgerton. And he's been clearing the land, he's got the pole barn built, and he's gonna build a home. So it looks like she's gonna lose them all at once.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah?
Now, is he married too, David, or not?
No, none of them, just Joan. Just Joan. Yeah, of course, this is Joan's second marriage.
Well, I kind of remember Carol would walk by our house from school or something, and why would that be?
Carol?
Carol.
Not Carol.
Maybe it's, I don't know where I got that from.
See, you're the
Didn't
same.
she go to Union?
Oh, yeah, they all went to Union. See, because when Carol went to Fairview, they,
Well, she could.
She went to Union from here, when you lived here.
She didn't walk there, did she?
yeah, she walked once in a while. She could be, see,
Maybe that's what it was.
because
maybe.
Fairview,
That's
they had,
very possible.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's really
Yeah.
walk down.
Fairview only had 8 grades here. From here, they had to go to Union High School,
Oh, yeah.
so. Could be.
Could be, yeah. Had to be quite a hike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're the same age as Peggy Lastocy, my brother's daughter.
Yeah. She's 50?
You went to school together.
Yeah.
Yeah, she married Lenny Hopkins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to them?
Whatever happened, well, he was a lawyer and he went out of town quite a bit and they just split up and he got married, but she never did. Now her boy is, he's same age as David, 25, and right now he's in hotel management. And he was going to be a psychiatrist, but he said it takes too many years. And then her daughter is 21, she's going to college, and Peggy has a home. She lived by herself when the kids come home on the weekend or something.
Peggy works for Adolph.
Yeah, she's got a good job there.
But
Yeah.
as long as Adolph stays in business, she's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty sure.
Yeah,
That's
right
a,
now.
well, that's a huge company. Or at least it was a huge company. I did a ferrygram there once, and they got a place for their employees, like a regular gymnasium. In fact, they rent that out, I guess, to other companies.
Yeah.
And they had like a party room or, like a little restaurant type thing. Well, that was really
That's a big.
quite an impressive organization.
You know, he lived in Fairview here. Well, Walker now was Fairview when we came here. And he had a little place on Alpine. Right, what was it? What street ends there? Panel, right near Panel, on this side of Panel. And him and his dad had that little business there years ago. Well, he went to school with Peggy. Peggy knew him from school.
Sprite Brothers.
And they went to Fairview here for a while. Peggy did too. And then that's how she met him. And now she's been working there for quite a while. The other guy.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully the car business will pick up. It has been pretty
Yeah,
good. Man.
pretty good.
It's better.
Couldn't be any worse.
No, it can't be worse.
Well, right now Joni's building another house. They have a beautiful home on 8th Avenue. They had 17 acres, but they sold part of it. And now they're building this home, and they started early in the spring. But you know, they're 6 or 8 weeks behind because of the bad wet weather. They got a lot of clay there. So now they're way behind, and we went to see it the other day. They haven't got the roof on yet. They have to move by June 1st.
Oh, boy.
So they'll be in the market for a while.
So this weekend, she's going down to Florida. It's a business association she's the president of.
She belongs to the International Management Company Council, and the Grand Rapids chapter they're going on. But last year she was vice president, and now
This year, but this is national now.
This international.
International.
But the Grand Rapids chapter, she's the president of the Grand Rapids chapter, and so they got a conference down. They go all over for conference. They'll be down in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah.
And so Carol and
I'll stay back.
Casey are going down with her. They're going to do the bumping. She's going to do the.
That's good.
Yeah,
Is
well,
this your
they're
house
going
here?
down.
Is that your house in the back or something? No, the picture here? In the wall?
That looks like your house on Turner.
Not quite.
Quite.
And when I lived there.
Yeah, the mother's, but now Joe,
About that
they're
age,
going Monday, they're coming home Saturday, they have to be out of the house by Sunday. She's gonna have a little work to do.
I think so. Yeah,
The fellow that bought the place, though, they've got a big barn, garage, big one, and he's going to let them store their stuff there until they'll be able to move in the house. So that's kind of nice too.
So those kids are busy. You know, when they were young, I used to have them, we were so glad when Carol would go to church and she'd bring all the kids over here Sunday night. Boy, when we come home, we'd have such a nice tea party.
Now she got a schedule that she don't know where this is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it is nowadays. We're on the run all the time.
Yeah, her too. She's got a chart there, where they're coming, when they're going. Now David, he works all over because he works to Rapid Engineering, him and his dad both, and they have air conditioning and cooling, heating, you know, all those big units. And if they have
all over, see,
travel, they go all over the United
like
States.
you are. A couple of weeks ago, I was up in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, David.
But they go down Kentucky, go down Carolinas, you know, and they got a big job up in Atlantic, then they go back and forth Atlantic. They're all over. Dave was just got back from Ohio and Indiana. Little David was teaching down in a couple classes down in Chicago, because after they put the units in there, see, he instructs them as how to time and regulate them, see. So the ones that get there, he teaches them how to do this, see. So he goes all over, and besides servicing them. Right.
And David's a salesman, he gets all the jobs for them.
Oh, yeah.
And if there's something wrong, then the guys, there are 3 or 4 guys that are troubleshooters, if he can't go, then Dave has to go. Carol says, I don't know half the time if it's day or night or they're coming or going or what.
Yeah.
Write it on the refrigerator.
Go through that stage with kids.
Yeah,
for
Yeah, I
sure.
would hate that.
You're lucky, see, when you have kids around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They keep you
And
busy.
appreciate every minute of it, because when
That's
they're
right.
gone, isn't it lonesome and quiet? It's
It
a
is.
different world.
It
You
is.
don't realize.
You know, I'm so happy when they all come home.
Yeah,
you know.
really.
We get together and they all come
Yeah.
home. I'm so happy when they come in.
Yeah.
But by the time they leave, I'm happy when they leave too, because I'm pretty tired.
Yeah, it's a different world. It's so quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, Jack and Don are going to be grandparents.
You are.
Yep, Steve and Ellen are going to have a
Jack
baby.
and you, well, that's pretty good. I never
Yeah,
realized
our first
Don and
grandchild.
Jack were going to be
August.
grandparents.
Yeah, August.
Does Norman know it? Do you know it?
Do I know it?
They're going to be
No,
grandparents.
Donna and I are gonna be grandparents.
Oh, because she said you
No,
two were.
no, she said Donna and I, yeah.
No, Steve and Ellen are having their first baby in August.
Yeah.
Melissa's wedding will be July, and Steve and Ellen's baby will be born in August, so it's going to
Oh,
be
boy.
lots of fun things for
He's one
family.
of Purdue
Your son's
Boilermaker.
having-
He's the one who went to college in Purdue.
Well, isn't he?
Steve.
No,
Isn't he?
not yet.
Well, who is that?
My
Steve.
son Steve.
Oh, you said Steve.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Steve.
On the-
How did he pop out with all those kids, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure is.
Now, are you guys gonna be doing any camping this summer? Gonna take your trailer out?
Well,
We couldn't get into Grand Haven, so we...
Oh, you couldn't get in?
No. Well, we want to see Casey's even.
Uh-huh.
There's a mix-up there about the church.
the church camping.
Camping there, so we couldn't get in early enough, so it was January the 11th before we got in. We couldn't get in.
Oh, for gosh
And
sake.
so we went down to Holland.
10 days at Holland, from the 19th to the 29th.
But last year we had a good date for it, but then she got laid up and we couldn't go.
Uh-oh.
I had to cancel 10 days at Grand Haven. Can you imagine
Boy, that was
that?
hard.
Oh, man.
That Coast Guard Festival.
Oh, yeah.
You're lucky that, you know, you can still get around and do these things.
Yeah, that's
Not many,
wonderful.
yeah.
That is.
Still drives a car.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well,
He drives a Buick.
Yeah, we always took the grandchildren.
Yeah.
Now we can't take them anymore. Even Joan was 18 and she still went camping with us.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Now it's the great
Yeah,
grandchildren.
when we first got our trailer, Joan was 6 weeks old.
Oh, my goodness.
And
6
so I
weeks
got the
old.
trailer and we went out to Grand Haven. In fact, we were there all summer
Uh-huh.
because between different ones registered there. So
Yeah.
we was there for just about, we was about 6 weeks, I guess.
All summer.
Yeah.
All summer.
Well, the guys would come home and they'd bring the washing home, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
And then on Wednesday and Saturday they'd come and stay till Sunday night. Well, that was okay too. We just stayed right out there.
I remember when when Norm and I were first married, Alma used to like to go fishing out to Grand Haven.
Or
And,
pack.
Yeah.
We all,
They knew when the perch were biting out there. I don't know how they do that.
you do that much or not?
I liked Alma. She was such a nice person.
Yeah,
She
she
was
was.
a nice
we
person.
fished out there a little bit, you know.
she's a good gal.
Yeah, Alma was.
If they're biting you,
You get all kinds of
they're not
I
right.
wonder if she cleaned the air.
They knew right when to go. For some reason. I don't know how.
Although one time we had little David out there, David and Linda, and he likes to fish, you know. And here he comes, a great big, what was
It's
that?
raining.
Yeah, I know. I know our dog is out in this.
Yeah, about that long.
Yeah.
And he had to clean us up, he cleaned us up, you know, all we had was a bush back there, and here he was out
But the way I'm
playing, you know.
Yeah.
And then about 10 kids all around there. I got a picture of him.
Then the cat.
You used to go fishing with Grandpa, huh? You and my
I
dad?
did. I did.
Oscar?
Not too much, no.
No?
No.
They always took me fishing, me and
We
Clark,
always did, yeah.
down the river.
Well, I like our
Everything at work.
kids, you know, we weren't home very much.
I wasn't either.
Hi, Lois. Oh, I know you're here.
After we got
Yeah,
married,
I'm here.
we took the grandkids out there, our kids out there.
They shut that thing off for a while.
She went to fish, so
Hi, Norm. It's your chance to say something profound.
Spoons handy, Norm?
Yeah, do you spoon trick for us? Thank you.
My other trick.
Grandpa never went
Have to
very
get him a
much.
spoon.
No.
Even when he was younger, he didn't, huh?
No, Grandpa didn't because he always had trouble with his hearing.
He won't let me do
Oh.
And he says, I don't like to go any place, he said, if I can't hear. And then we got
Hi.
it. Yeah, get to Arkansas.
He just didn't feel like going anywhere or doing anything. He says, I just can't do it, I just can't go. Well, he was broken up, his chest was broken up, and he had, you know, and his hearing was bad, he couldn't
Coughed up
see. He
his
said, I love to read, I can't read anymore.
I sitting down, you finally got a hearing aid, you know.
Yeah.
That's the kind they had.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
He didn't like that.
Well, we should
Remember that
have
radio?
more, I think.
Remember that radio we had? You could hear Lowell Thomas and Lowell Ranger in it.
Oh, he liked
We
old.
got a new one and he didn't like it, he couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
It didn't have that big speaker in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, we gotta get rolling here.
These guys got me a
You go,
replica.
can I make some coffee or something?
No, we
A
got
replica
it.
of
My,
that
mom, my
radio.
mom's been
Yeah. Her mom's not doing very well.
So we
She's on oxygen 24 hours a day.
yeah, she has
Bad lungs.
emphysema and bad
Yeah, I
heart,
got,
so we have to go over there. Yeah,
15%
we've
of her
got
lungs
two prayers
are
right this
working.
afternoon.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
We're
How old is your
gonna
mom?
pace. My mom's 76, 75, wait, 76.
Well, when he was 13,
Seven-
he worked in a coal mine.
What year is
Then he
this?
worked in the...
Take care of herself. She got a long way to go yet.
Wolverine breast
said it was
works, and that was
76.
all on his lung. And towards the left, he had about an eighth of a lung.
Well, her 75th, you would have thought that'd be a party we had, but we haven't. She was 74 because she was starting to fail.
That was
So
right.
that kind of throws me off when I'm thinking about that.
She goes there just about every day. Amongst all the other things she's got going on, so.
Yeah, she's lucky. She's lucky she can go and she can help.
When Ade was 75, he had his first
Yeah.
accident.
Yeah, I don't know what they do without her. I don't know what I'd do without her, kind of thing.
Yeah, aren't you lucky you got her?
Oh, that's the truth.
Sure.
I'm lucky I got you, honey.
I got you, babe.
Do I?
Well,
You appreciate her.
You bet.
He turned out to be a pretty good
Yeah,
kid.
pretty good kid, you know.
He was a little rough when he was younger, but then he grew so normal, but then it turned out
Oh,
to
He's the best husband
Well,
there is.
doggone it, you have to grow up, don't you?
Yeah, it's all
You can't
part of
stay
life,
young.
yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
What about him? 9 years old, he smoked almost a box of cigars. Didn't he?
Yeah,
He ain't smoked since. That's a good,
Oh, he
good thing.
don't. That's what cured him and killed him.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
with his kids down there. We
Yeah.
got down in the club down there, and there's a box of cigars there, so.
I know what.
Cigars, but like I say, I smoked one of them. I started on the second one before I got sick. But when I got sick,
You tie your pant legs? You tie your pant legs? So I told her to tie her pant legs.
that's probably why I never tripped my smoking.
I'm glad he
You know how to
did.
take it off the tripod? You know how to do
Yeah.
that?
My dad didn't smoke, did he? Or?
No.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Oh, did
Did he
Yeah,
smoke?
yeah,
I
I
don't
got
remember when
pictures
he
of him.
smoked.
yeah,
Not when he got older.
no.
No, I think he
Not when he was
my
young.
kid.
He slapped a cigarette out of my mouth one day.
And Oscar smoked.
I know
Well, I remember Oscar. Oscar smoked until he died.
Marvelous
I think.
thing.
Oscar did, but I don't remember Art, because when Art was young, he may have, but when Art was older, Art
No,
didn't smoke.
Yeah, your dad smoked a pipe and cigarette
I never
both.
did smoke, just like guys who, show off as pipers like that. But I never did smoke. Never cared about it. Never cared about it.
How you got hooked on
That's
it?
probably how you got to be 85 years old.
Yeah.
No, that's that.
Probably.
You're suffering for it. You're suffering for it now.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jenny. Happy birthday to you. Long sauce in the Gloria, in the Gloria, in the Gloria.